We're shifting focus to what's happening in Manipur. High drama in violence hit Manipur, where the Chief Minister N. Biren Singh shot down speculations that he will resign from his position. Actually, it was more than speculations. He actually had a resignation letter. So this is what happened. In a tweet, he affirmed that he wishes to continue at this important juncture. This clarification came immediately after the Chief Minister's convoy was blocked by his supporters, who snatched his resignation letter and tore it, urging him to stay on and work towards ensuring peace in the state. Biren Singh had planned to meet the governor during the day, fueling speculation that he could step down. A crowd of women had gathered outside the Manipur Chief Minister's Secretariat in Raj Bhavan, urging Biren Singh not to resign. Renewed violence erupted in the state on Thursday that claimed 3 more lives, leaving 5 injured. The toll in exchange of fire between security forces and suspected rioters in a district a day before has risen to 3, with 1 more person succumbing to injuries. Given the situation, schools in Manipur will remain closed. The internet ban has also been extended. So far, more than 100 people have lost their lives in the ethnic violence between Meitei and Kuki communities in the state of Manipur. Will the Chief Minister stepping down actually help, or will it make no difference? What is this entire resignation drama? To understand more on it, I'm speaking now with Chitra Ahanthem, journalist, who's joining me for more on the story. Chitra ji, thank you so much for speaking with us. Give us some perspective about what has happened with Chief Minister Biren Singh. And he has been criticized so robustly for failing to control the violence. Yet today, when he seemed to resign, there was a whole group of protesters who wouldn't let him. Can you explain the dynamics of this?
Well, you know, it's a very interesting question, and it's a very interesting premise, because one other thing is that, you know, there are different ways of looking at it. One, if indeed he had actually managed to put in his resignation papers, would that have meant, you know, that there would be president's rule, or would that have been just a change of leadership? We don't know, because somehow a letter, an official letter that was to be submitted, handed over to the governor of Manipur, it found its way to certain representatives of the state assembly. They were there and they brought that letter out. The chief minister was not seen in the videos that I have seen so far, at least. And there was somebody being called up, and that person did the honors of shredding that letter to pieces. So I think there was high drama. It got a lot of optics, and it's something on the lines of what we saw yesterday when Mr. Rahul Gandhi, the Congress leader, was there in Manipur as well. But it also puts into focus the role of women that you said. And when we talk about the women of Manipur, these are the very same women who have been recently been vilified in a lot of media narratives, as well as including the official Twitter handle of the Spear Corps of the Army as well, saying that women have been ferrying militants, that women have been enabling, you know, violence in Manipur. But to paint everything in just broad strokes of, you know, black or white is not going to help anything at all. And it only exposes the lack of knowledge and awareness, and a total lack of disrespect for the kind of efforts that these women have put for Manipur over the years. And when I say over the years, there have been, the women of Manipur are very, very you know, active in their political, socio-economic space. They have stood their might, you know, stood against the might of even the British rule. And very interestingly, when the first Nupilan and the second Nupilan happened during the colonial times, the Assam Rifles, because the Assam Rifles, mind you, is not a product of free India. It comes from the vestiges of colonial India. It was a force that was set up by the British rulers. And so the women of the Meitei women who stood up against the British were actually fighting against the forces of the British, who were the Assam Rifles. Yeah. And hence that fight still continues, I believe.
No, so that's how I would look at the situation. With complete humility, I underscore, admit, and say you are absolutely 100% right when you say that there is a shocking understanding of the dynamics of what is happening in Manipur politically. That is very true. We are just about trying to understand what is happening. And with that admission, I would, ask you to explain what we've seen today, because what we've been hearing is that Mr. Biren Singh was not able to handle this. In fact, the fact is he has not been able to handle this. Now, there is, of course, a group of supporters who are saying that you should not be stepping down. Is it going to help if he stays? Will it help if he steps down?
Yes.
What is the solution?
Well, more than his stepping down or not, I think the main, most important thing right now is whether the violence is going to stop or not. And time and again in this past few days, and we are now going to complete 2 months, right? On the 3rd, trouble started. I mean, if we look at May 3 as the beginning of the conflict, but then I would say that the conflict, the seeds of the conflict were sown much before, May 3rd of this year. But if we do count the incidents of May 3rd because of the large-scale violence that happens against the Meiteis in More and Churachandpur, then I would say that we are going to complete 2 months on July 3rd. And the internet ban is just completed, I think, 61 days. And, so what is going to happen now is not so much dependent on whether Biren stays or goes, but on whether the violence is going to be there. Is it going to continue? Because from what we are hearing, and it has not happened ever before in the history of Indian politics.
Where is the solution then? Where is the solution then? We've seen Rahul Gandhi also visit Manipur. We've seen all of those visuals. Politics over that begins as well. There's been an all-party meeting. There have been several rounds of meetings with representatives of all the communities, but nothing has helped so far. Where, in your view, is the solution?
I would be absolutely the wrong person to say this. The right person who has the powers and the decision to have the solution, to make the solution come through, are the Home Minister of India and the Prime Minister of India. Only they know what has been happening, and only they know where they can go, because I do not have the authority or the power. As a common man, as a common citizen, what I do know for sure is that the violence has to stop, and for the violence to stop, there has to be a clear demarcation of whether the suspension of operations, that was a trilateral agreement between the central government, the state government, and the Kuki armed forces, because that has been violated right from day one. The ground rules very clearly say that the cadres of the Sioux groups, the Kuki militants who have signed on the dotted line with representatives of the state government and the central government, they have to stay in the designated army camps. Now, that was broken on May 3rd when you saw cadres, heavily armed, taking part in the so-called peace rally. Now, that is number one ground rule that was flouted. Number two, that they cannot be carrying arms in public. Same, the same rationale that I gave for point 1. Point 3,
absolutely,
that they will not do anything that hampers the territorial integrity of Manipur, and that they will not do anything that violates the Constitution of India. So if you look at these three ground rules, there are other ground rules also, that they will not violate, that they will not threaten civilians, that they will not commit any crimes. But then a lot of that has been happening as well. But so there has to be clarity on what exactly is the Sioux all about. Does it exist or not? If it's not existing,
perhaps that's where the solution lies. I will have to wrap it here. I'm out of time, ma'am. But thank you so much for joining us and giving us your perspective. The focus has been on Rahul Gandhi visiting. The focus has been on whether Biren Singh...
I wish we could have had more time, because it's a complex... it's a complex issue. I agree. I wish we had more time to talk about it.
I agree. I absolutely agree. We'll have you back. We'll have you back with more time to speak on this. The only point I was making is the focus is on Biren Singh, Rahul Gandhi, the Home Minister. Where is the focus on a solution that actually works? That's what we need at this point. Thank you so much, Chitra Ahanthem there.